Hi everyone, it's James here. Welcome to another video, and this is going out to Rob Walker, a little tribute to Rob, who is in hospital at the moment. So sending our thoughts to you, Rob. Hope you're doing good. I understand you're watching videos, so I hope you enjoy this one. And it's going to be a Smiths special. This is something I've been threatening to do for a long time. So the Smiths are a band who totally passed me by back in the 80s. I was listening to heavy metal and hard rock at that point, and I had no interest in them at all. I don't think I even really knew who they were, really. It was in the early 90s that I first became of Morrissey properly, during the period when he'd started to make certain controversial announcements in the music press. This is probably around about 93, 94. And I'd just like to say, before we start the video, I'm not going to say anything about Morrissey other than that he's clearly espousing nowadays some very obnoxious and pretty horrible sentiments, but that's not going to colour my approach to this video. Apart from that, I'm talking about the music of the Smiths and the persona of Morrissey that comes through in that music. I'm not talking about him as a person at all. Okay, so let's start with this record. This is the debut album, The Smiths. This one came out in February of 1984, got to number 2 in the charts. One thing I'll say about the Smiths, I thought that they were more of a band that became really big after the event, but these chart placings clearly indicate that they were huge at the time. So that's quite interesting. This record is the latest, no, the second to latest record in my collection. This was given to me a while back, amazingly, by my son's hairdresser. Took my son for his haircut, and the guy had a bag of records in the shop, and this was in the bag. Quite extraordinary. I had most of the Smiths records already. This was one of the only ones I didn't have, so it was a real piece of luck, and it's in beautiful condition. Really, really beautiful. It's a Rough Trade original. So I'll show you the inner. There are the boys there. Lyric sheet, and here we have the label. So came out in February of 1984 and got to number 2 in the charts, and it's a wonderful record. It has a very stark, almost bleak sound to it, very kind of Northern England. The band that it kind of reminds me of a little bit is Joy Division. I'm not sure if they were influenced by Joy Division or not. I mean, they probably were, in a sense. Joy Division were the godfathers of British indie music or post-punk music or whatever, but it's got a certain stark simplicity to it, or a starkness to it. Read Around the Fountain, beautiful piano by Paul Carrack in that track, and Hand in Glove, which was a single, of course. But I mean, the song that really stands out on this record for me is the final song, Suffer Little Children, which is a truly dark, disturbing song, but in a cathartic way, and I can never listen to that without becoming very emotional. And it kind of laid the groundwork for what the Smiths were going to do. Just this wonderful kind of chiming, arpeggiated guitars from Johnny Marr, very tight, controlled sound, and then you've got the persona of Morrissey coming through in these very spirited lyrics, very characterful, obviously very melancholy. You know, back in the day, the Morrissey persona did not appeal to me. It kind of reminded me of just kind of vaguely loathsome, self-obsessed teenagers, but I've kind of keyed in more nowadays to the humour, the very dry, bleak kind of worldview that he's got with his wonderful lyrics, which are very painterly and very poetic, very influenced by 1950s literary influences. Think Sheila Delaney, Taste of Honey, that kind of thing. I've been primed for that anyway with Chris Difford in Squeeze, in a way. So I think Morrissey was carrying that particular torch, the kind of Ray Davies, Chris Difford kind of torch. But he did it in a way, I think, which I think chimes with lots of young people. It was a lyrical outlook which really encapsulated how young people were feeling, probably in the 1980s. And they do strike me as being a band that if I had got into them when I went to uni in '89, I would have loved them in a way, because they wrote about young people's, or Morrissey wrote about young people's concerns and all their emotional twinges, and he did it in a way, I can see exactly why he became a figurehead. So anyway, that was the first album in '84. The next one, I'm going to mix up the compilation albums with the original album. So the next one that was released was this is Hatful of Hollow, came out in November '84 and got to number 7 in the charts. This is one of several records I'm going to show you which came, I think, from Oxfam years ago. This is when you could still buy really amazing records in charity shops for a decent amount of money. So I picked this up along with a few of the others. It's not in wonderful shape, but it's an original, you know, so it's one of the prides of my collection, really. Let's have a look and see. So we've got an inner again, just the lyrics, and again I shall show you the record. Always very kind of stark labels, and I love the artwork on the Smiths releases. They're just very iconic. Hatful of Hollow. So this was a collection of BBC sessions. There's a couple of singles on here. There's William It Was Really Nothing, which was a single, wasn't it? Hand in Glove, and a couple of B-sides. How Soon Is Now, incredible, that was a B-side. Just what an amazing track. That was a song that was constantly on the jukeboxes back in my college days. Just an incredible song. The original version, or an early version of Reel Around the Fountain is on here. Wonderful release, and just, you know, nice to have an original copy of that. So that was November of '84. Then we come to February '85, Meat is Murder, a #1 album. I've got 2 copies of this. I've got the original Rough Trade one, which again came from Oxfam, and it's not in particularly good shape. It doesn't play very well, and I got a bit frustrated with it because it's an album I really like, but because of the bacon and eggs quality of it, which I couldn't really get rid of despite many cleanings. Sorry, here's the inner for that one. I did actually finally give in and buy a repress of it, so this is a repressing which came out a few years back. Still in the shrink, I see, a bit disturbing. I don't usually keep albums in the shrink, but for some reason I did with that one, so quite a nice reissue, sounds good, and what a fantastic album. I probably know this album, well, this one and the next one I'm going to show you most out of all of them. These are the 2 that I've listened to most. I listened to the Smiths mainly, I would have said, back in, I don't know, like between 2010 and 2015 or something. That's when I really started listening to them properly. And this is one that really kind of chimes with me. The Headmaster's Ritual, and The Joke Isn't Funny Anymore. I Want the One I Can't Have. It would have so chimed with me back in the day if I'd been into this music. It's a shame in a way, but that's the way it goes. And of course you got, you know, Meat is Murder on there, Morrissey's. That's the one thing I say about Morrissey's. I mean, I'm a vegetarian. I've been vegetarian for at least 30 years. I mean, that's the one thing about Morrissey I do actually respect and admire in a way. The fact that he's, you know, he has been fairly outspoken about that. Okay, so June '86, the next record, we got The Queen Is Dead. And again, this is another one from Oxfam. I don't know when I bought the Oxfam ones. It was a long time ago. There's the boys there. The cover is not in great shape, and the record, this is probably the worst of the records I've got in terms of the condition. I could do with getting a repress of it. I've got it on CD, so I'm a little bit reluctant to buy a repress as well, but I probably will end up doing it at some point. And there's the inner for that one. So The Queen Is Dead, I would say I know this record best out of all of them, mainly because of having it on CD, I suppose. But it's certainly a classic, you know. Frankly, Mr. Shankly, Never Had No One Ever, Cemetery Gates, Big Mouth Strikes Again, The Boy with a Thorn in His Side, what a beautiful song. There Is a Light That Never Goes Out, just wonderful, textured, chiming indie, British indie rock at its best, really. So that's my original copy of that. Came out in June '86 and got to #2 in the charts. Then we've got a couple of comps again. So I'll just show you the label on Queen Is Dead. There it is. Again, always quite stark. Okay, so then in February of 1987, we have this compilation, The World Won't Listen. And this was another one that came out on Rough Trade. And again, this is an Oxfam purchase. Nice black label on this one. So yeah, great track list on here. You've got Panic, which I think got the Smiths into trouble, didn't it? That was the one where Morrissey was accused of being racist because of the Hang the DJ chorus. He was always very controversial. The Shoplifters of the World Unite is on here. The Boy with a Thorn in His Side. Really great track list, actually. So yes, another compilation album. The Smiths are one of those groups where the compilation albums almost seem to be on the same level of importance as the original albums. I think mainly because of the cover art, I guess. They were just very well done, weren't they? They seem to be of a piece with the discography, which is actually quite nice. And then from March '87, then we've got this record, which I think came out in the States originally, Louder Than Bombs, and it was meant to be a kind of American equivalent to The World Won't Listen, with a very similar track list, I think. But then after that, Rough Trade did release it themselves. This is the newest record in my collection. newest Smiths record in my collection. I thought I'd got all the records, and then I realised this is the one I was missing, so I picked this up a few weeks ago now, and I've been enjoying it. Really nice reissue, sounds beautiful, and just a great track list on this one. Double album, really great sound, just wonderful, love it. So there we go, that one is on the Sire label, which immediately makes me think of the Talking Heads. So it came out on Sire in the States, and then it got re-released, I think, by Rough Trade, but it wasn't a particularly successful record. I think it got to number 38 in the charts. Not too bad, but not as high ranking as some of the others. And then the Smith story then concludes, really, in September of '87 with this record, and again this is another original I bought from Oxfam, Strange Ways, Here We Come, and this was their swan song. I understand this is Morrissey and Marr's favourite Smiths album, certainly a good one. Unhappy Birthday and Girlfriend in a Coma are both on here. I Started Something I Couldn't Finish, really great song titles. And yeah, this one got to number 2 in the charts, and I think what happened, I think Johnny Marr left the band, didn't he? So it all came tumbling down after that. Here's the inner. And, there we go. Oh, just one quick word. I forgot to mention, on the cover of Louder Than Bombs, we've got that's Sheila Delaney, the author of A Taste of Honey, a very famous play from the 1950s, which I studied at college. Yeah, so Strange Ways, Here We Come was this one song, and that drew these stories to a close. There's various other compilations, CD compilations. There's a live album, which I'm still looking for, don't have that one. But that's the collection. What I will say about the Smiths is that I don't know a lot about them, as in I don't know a lot about their history. I know that Morrissey's written his autobiography. I know that Johnny Marr has written his autobiography, so I may at least look into the Johnny Marr one. But they're a really interesting band, clearly very influential, epochal kind of group, and it's nice to have all those records in the collection, despite my qualms about their lead singer. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that, folks, and Rob, if you watched the video, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you get well soon and get out of hospital. So take care, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave some comments below, and I'll see you all soon.